on this computer. Hey, there we go. Okay, so yeah, for those of you who have no idea who I am, just because I look a hell of a lot different than I do in my picture that she posted, I'm Josh Spencer. I'm just pulling a whole Clark Kent kind of thing here with the glasses and the beard. So I'm Josh Spencer, and just a little rundown because I see a lot of people. I just have no idea who you guys are. I'm Barbie's coach. This is really surprising and interesting, but when I started in the business, when I started with Team Beachbody, before I was a coach, I was a free customer lead for Barbie. And a lot of people don't know that part of the story, but it's a really interesting one. But I purchased P90X off of eBay, and this was back in 2008, by the way. I'm sort of a veteran in the business now, but I purchased P90X off of eBay, and luckily it was a coach on there selling it illegally, right? Because I had this little slip. It was like a legit copy of P90X, which is very rare, especially back then when P90X was such a big thing that you'd find a legit copy of it. And there was this little slip that came in there and just said, hey, you can go online and get your free Team Beachbody coach. I'm like, sweet. I mean, that sounds like a cool plan to me. I could definitely use the help. So I went on and signed on, and bam. So I was Barbie's free customer lead because she was an Emerald coach at the time. And what I respected so much out of Barbie was that, and this is such a good lesson to learn from this, but what I respected so much was that she didn't just talk to me about fitness. She was legit trying to help me change my entire life. And trust me, guys, there was a lot of crap that I was going through at the time. I was going through a really rough breakup. I was having some issues with my career. It was just a mess, and I was drinking every night, and she was there I think she spent more time talking to me about my personal life and helping me through it than she did about the actual fitness itself. Obviously, she was there to support me with that as well, but it really, really, it made me respect her. So, and you guys know this. I mean, Barbie's such an incredible leader. I have so much respect for her. I've always respected her, and ultimately that's why I signed up as a coach under her. So, and that was back in 2008. But I want to start out, and so I'm gonna give a few little warnings here. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm a very raw, in your face, straight to the point, no bullshit kind of guy. And let me mute you guys real quick. Hold on a second. Can't freaking see a thing. There we go. Okay, so I'm actually in the process of getting LASIK surgery because I'm so freaking blind. So I don't have my glasses on because I hate wearing glasses, period. So I can't see a dang thing right now. But anyways, so back to what I was saying. For those of you who don't know me, I'm just a straightforward guy, all right? And I've always approached my business this way. I feel like it's the best way to approach people to get them motivated. I feel like if I don't approach people and say what they need to hear and rather than say what they want to hear, then I feel like I'm doing a major disservice to them, okay? And this is something that I feel like a lot of people, maybe a lot of you guys actually struggle with, is you're afraid to say something to someone because you think you're going to offend them. And I'm sure some of you guys are shaking your head in agreement with me. And it's a very common thing, especially for newer coaches especially, is that you just don't want to piss people off, all right? But let me tell you something. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to do a rah-rah. I'm here to just give you a dose of reality and what you can expect in a group like this and what you can expect in this business. All right, because there's a lot of misconceptions and there's a lot of coaches out there who say, well, this is an easy business. Well, that's bullshit. All right, and ultimately, this is not an easy business. And I'm sure some of you who have been around for a while, you totally understand that. This is hard. All right, this is very hard. And I'll get into some of the reasons why it's hard here in a minute. But I want to first start out by saying, I'm going to be cussing during this. So if you have any coaches, if you have any kids around, there might be a time to send them in the other room, all right? That's just how I am. And the reason why I want to be straightforward with you is because ultimately my intent is to help you. I want you guys to stay motivated throughout this entire journey as you're going through this diamond run. But it extends well beyond that too, because it's a great thing to stay motivated during this diamond run, but it's even harder, but it's an even greater thing to stay motivated well after the diamond run. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be explaining tonight. So why is this group, why is the diamond run so effective? I do want to say too that you guys are awesome for taking this step, because obviously each of you are on this call. Each of you, and by the way, I know it's freaking noon, right? This is the worst time for a call. This is the best time for me. It's the worst time for a call. And here you guys are on listening to me, but you also join this group. And that says a lot about you, because that says that you want to push and you're willing to do whatever it takes to be successful as a coach. And that is something I respect and I love, and I'm so glad. Okay. So why is this group so effective? And it's funny because I was talking to Barbie just a little bit ago, and she's like, just make sure, Josh, that you say that it's not about the money. And I sent a little message back and I said, Barbie, I'm going to contradict you a little bit here, because I think a part of it is about the money, right? There's $5,000 or something like that in this pot. And anybody who reaches diamond in the qualifications, of course, gets a share of that pot. And why is that awesome? Because, listen, guys, I know what it's like to be in a shitty financial situation. For those of you who don't know my story, back in 2008, 2009, my wife and I were at the lowest of lows financially. We were on government support. We were living with $50 in our bank account at a time. I couldn't afford groceries. I couldn't afford formula for a child. We had to use this card to purchase all this stuff. And I can tell you right now that just knowing that I could possibly have just $700 or $600 or $500 extra for putting some work into the business, that would have motivated the hell out of me to work. Okay. And I'm sure some of you guys are the same thing, or saying the same thing, and you're going through and thinking the same thing. So the money is important. All right. But we have to dig deeper, and we have to talk about, why is the money important here? And the money is important because it motivates you. Am I correct in saying that? Like, it's awesome. Like, hey, I can earn an extra $500-$700 here. Hell yeah, man. This is going to motivate me. All right. But you have to understand something. It goes well beyond this 6 weeks or 8 weeks. All right. So yes, you're going to be motivated by the money. You're going to be motivated to advance your business. But here's the problem that we've seen, and Barbie and I had a really good discussion about this. After the 6 weeks or 8 weeks, I keep saying 6, after the 8 weeks are done, the 2 months are done, people just tend to fall off, and they break out of diamond, and their business just slows. So here's the biggest lesson that you have to learn from something like this. All right, the money is going to motivate you. That's fine. If you're that person that just seeing that huge pot, then awesome. That's great for you. But I want to challenge you to do something. I want to challenge you to extend that well beyond this 8 weeks. I want to challenge you to find different ways to motivate yourself well after this group is done. Because self-motivation is one of the biggest keys for success for you individually and for you as your team. If you can never self-motivate, and you sit back and you wait on somebody else to push you and wait on another group to push you, you will never ever advance past the point where you are today. And I want you to understand that. You will never ever advance. So you have to find ways to motivate yourself on a daily basis after something like this is done. So if you look at 2010, all right, and I use this as an example because 2010, I would say, was one of the best years in my business. I won top coach in Team Beachbody. I was in 2011, I was a top 10 coach as well. 2012, I was an elite coach. So 2010 to 2012 or 13 is when I saw the biggest growth in my business. You know what? There were things that motivated me, like groups, because there's actually something, and this really isn't a group, but it was an incentive. Barbie's Upline, he held a competition for people to push, and if they won, they actually got a free trip to Grand Cayman Islands. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I have always dreamed of going to somewhere exotic, to some place like this. And it kept me motivated, and I pushed, and I actually won it twice, all right? But I couldn't stop there. And I want you guys to think about this. You cannot stop here. I had to find different ways to self-motivate because I had huge goals. I didn't want to earn 6 figures. I wanted to earn a 7-figure income, all right? I wanted to provide freedom that is beyond almost 99.9% of people's expectations. I wanted to achieve something that not anybody ever achieves. I wanted to provide my family with the life that they deserve. And I knew for that to happen that I was going to have to find ways to self-motivate on a daily basis. You know, for me, it went back to goal setting. And it went back to thinking about my why. And these are 2 huge things, guys. And I hope you're taking notes because it's really important. Goal setting and going back to your why, all right? So my why, obviously, when I started this journey was to get myself and my family out of this shitty situation that we were in financially. And every single day that I woke up, I literally took a few minutes and I reminded myself of that. Because if I thought about what I had to do to get out of that situation, there was no way I was not getting the things done that I needed to do to move towards that goal. So every single morning, I took just a few minutes and thought about the reasons why I was doing this business. Yes, helping people is so important, and that was one of the reasons. But getting my family out of the situation that we were in was a major reason. And I did that because I did not want to let them down. Every single one of you guys on this call, you don't want to let your family down. That's just the truth. All right, we have an opportunity here. You guys have an opportunity here to just create something magical and something so powerful and change not just your situation around, but some of your family and your friends and people that you get on your team. You have such an incredible opportunity. It says I've logged in from another device. That's great. So somebody's trying to log in under Barbie's account. That's kind of funny. All right. So you have an opportunity here. And you have to remind yourself every single day of what that is and why you're doing this. But the second thing is you have to remember the goals that you set for yourself. So every single day, and this is something I highly suggest that you guys do as well. I actually went to, I think it was like Walmart or something, and I bought a $20 dry erase board. It's actually hanging right in front of me right now. And I hung this in my living room. And the reason why I hung it in my living room was because that was where I could look every single day. That was my office pretty much. But I could look at it every single day and I could remind myself of my goals. And I wrote down all of my goals. And the one specific that I wrote down was Top Coach 2010. And I kept it in there big letters. And every single day after I thought about the why I was doing this business, I looked at that goal. I looked at that goal and I just focused on it. After I did those 2 things, I was focused for the rest of the day. And there was no way I was slacking. I was getting shit done. All right? Those are 2 things that I highly suggest you guys do as well. So like I said in the very beginning, this business is hard. We know that. And unfortunately, there are coaches that recruit people and they say, well, this is an easy business. That's fucking bullshit, man. Like, I can't stand it when I hear this from people. I cannot stand it. Being a business owner is not easy, guys. That is reality. Being a business owner is hard. My dad owns 3 businesses, and if you would go to him and say, hey, Terry, has your journey been easy to get to where you are today? And he'd look at you like, are you kidding me right now? If you look at any side business, you try to start a small business, the average, think about this for a minute, the average is 5 years of losses before you experience any profit. 5 years. You know how much patience, consistency, adjustments, you know how much it takes to get to that point? 5 years. Some of you guys aren't even remotely close to 5 years in this yet. But yet people are complaining that they're failing and struggling. Well, it takes 5 years. If you get it early enough and you understand how it works, you can succeed a hell of a lot quicker in something like what we do than you can opening up your small business. But the reality is here is that you are a business owner. You've got to accept that. No one's going to sit here and tell you what to do. This is your business from this point on, and you have to take 100% ownership of your business if you truly want to succeed. I didn't sit back and I didn't wait on Barbie to train me. I didn't wait on corporate to say, well, this is what you need to do to succeed. No, I took matters into my own hands and I figured it out on my own. Because this is my business. I am a business owner. Every single one of you are business owners as well. So you've got to get this out of your mind that you're not a business owner, because the truth is that you are. And when you're a business owner, there is a hell of a lot of responsibility that comes from that. Am I right? Like it is a huge weight that's on your shoulders. There is a lot of responsibility. Something that you have to do every single day is you have to push so far outside of your comfort zone. I want you to think about this for a second. I'm going to use a little illustration. Every single one of us, we have this big bubble that surrounds us, right? It's this big bubble. You can just picture this bubble in your mind. And this bubble is called your comfort zone. 99% of people, what they'll do is they live their entire lives inside this bubble. They want to feel comfortable. Every now and then, they might take their toe and stick it outside that bubble, like break through the wall of that bubble and stick it outside that bubble. But all of a sudden, as soon as they feel just a little bit of anxiety or a little bit of feeling uncomfortable, they pull that toe right back in and they sit in this spot to where they feel comfortable. Why is it that the majority of people can never get results with fitness? Because it's not easy. It's uncomfortable for them to make a change in their life. If they're sitting there and they're just consistently eating like shit and they're doing things to sabotage their own health, that's comfortable for them, especially if they're in the habit of doing so. So as soon as we introduce a little bit of healthiness into their life, that's them taking their toe and sticking it outside. And then, as you guys have seen, it's very hard to get them to take that next step outside of that bubble, right? It is so hard to get them to take that next step. It's because as soon as there is this feeling, and you guys know the feeling, like you can feel it in the pit of your stomach. As soon as they feel that, they want to go jump right back into that bubble. Average people are this way. Every single one of you needs to be different. You need to be above average. You need to be exceptional. Successful people have a totally different approach to their comfort zone and this little bubble that surrounds them on a daily basis. Successful people understand that in order to succeed, you literally have to just plow through that bubble and just fly outside of that bubble with your whole body and then stay outside that bubble consistently. Every single day I do this. If there's something that's uncomfortable for me, I am pushing outside that bubble and I'm staying in that zone. And what's so cool about this whole thing is that once you bust outside that bubble, and you understand that these things that you thought were uncomfortable suddenly become comfortable for you, and your bubble expands. So my bubble is freaking massive right now. Because every single day, I'm challenging myself to be uncomfortable. And I'm challenging you to be uncomfortable. Because this group is going to make you uncomfortable. And I don't want you to be that person who retreats back into that bubble, Because if you're going to be that person, you're going to be the 99% of people who won't do anything with this group. And guys, I'm just sorry, that is the truth. If I look at it, we'll probably say maybe, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 10, I don't know, something stupid low, a percentage of you are actually going to accomplish what you set out to accomplish and win that pot and get yourself the diamond. Only a very small percentage of you are going to do it. Why? Because you can't bust out of that comfort zone. You can't do it. So for this next 2 months, I want you to literally force yourself to be uncomfortable every single day. And I'm telling you guys right now, if you can get into this habit of being uncomfortable every day, not just for this 2 months, but for the next 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, you are going to see something incredible and magical happen in your lives in regards to personal development and in your business. There is no doubt about it. If people can just take this and run outside that bubble, you will be a six-figure earner. I'm telling you. And it might take a little bit of time, but you can make it happen. I know this. I've seen it. I've experienced it on a first-hand basis. Not just with me personally, but with people on my team. The people who succeed explode out of that bubble, and they challenge themselves on a daily basis. So you will be uncomfortable for the next 8 weeks. But get into the habit of being uncomfortable. This is so important. The other thing I want to talk about, and this is crucial, guys, stop the fucking excuses, man. Stop the excuses. There's so many people, so many coaches, so many people that just get involved in fitness who have excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse to why they can't succeed. Excuses hold you back. This is something that you got to understand. Barbie's on this call, right? I want you to go to Barbie and I want you to ask Barbie, has Josh ever made an excuse in his life, in his business? For 9 years, she will never say that I've made an excuse. Not once. Never. Not once.
That just gave me goosebumps because not even when you were going through your health stuff did you make a single excuse. And that's how I know that I can expect that from my rockstar coaches. And the same thing with Rosa. Like those two coaches have never given me a single excuse. And to me, that's my bar. Like that's the high, that gives me goosebumps. That's the high standard bar. Everyone else, they're just making excuses when life gets in the way and shit hits the fan all the freaking time. So absolutely. And I love Josh's work ethic.
And that's it. I mean, you go back to these excuses, and every single one of you are sitting here with an excuse in your mind. And the problem is you get into the habit of making excuses, right? And once you get into this habit of making excuses, it's almost impossible. It's nearly impossible to break out of that habit, because every time something happens in your life, every time something happens in your relationship, every time something happens in your business, you come up with an excuse to why you're struggling with it. Not me. I take ownership. I understand that everything that happens to me, everything that happens to my relationship with my wife and my kids and my business goes back to me and owning up to my mistakes. Just as Barbie said, you won't hear me make an excuse. Guys, I already told you I was struggling financially back in 2009. We were on government support. You know, it's so funny to me because I hear so many people all the time say, I just can't afford to do this. You think you can't afford to do it? Holy shit, you should have been in my position. But you know what? And you asked Barbie, I was that guy who I found every single possible way I could, whether that meant selling shit on eBay or doing some extra work, to afford gas to get to every single event within a 300-mile radius of me. Every single event when I was on government support, I found a way to freaking make it happen. There was no excuses. The time excuse. Good Lord, man. You think you don't have the time. I was working 16, 18 hours a day as a financial advisor, and I still made this business work. Every single excuse, every single one that you are thinking of right now in your mind, if you would come to me, I can bust that excuse from a personal story. Every single one of them. So if you can live an excuse-free life, and I challenge you to do this for the next 8 weeks. If you can do this for the next 8 weeks and not make one excuse and get into the habit of this, again, your life and your business will change. The next thing is how to handle failure. Guys, as business owners, we fail on a daily basis. Let me explain something to you right now. I'm 9 years in as a Beachbody coach, and I'm one of the highest income earners with Barbie in the entire network. There's not a year goes by that I feel like I haven't failed miserably as a coach. And right now, I am the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life because I had to take a year and a half away from the business because to deal with my health, and my business has suffered because of it. I'm not using that excuse. It's just the reality there. I had to do it to focus on my health. But the aftermath of that is that my business is not growing like I want. So I made a commitment at the beginning of the year to, one, analyze exactly what I'm doing wrong. And for the last 3 to 4 months, I have been so engaged in the business, it's not even funny. I'm talking the same type of engagement in this business like I was in 2010 when I won Top Coach. I'm that committed right now. And I'm so freaking excited because I'm looking back, and I just made a post to my Diamond coaches, and I said, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. After these meetings, and I went and met with Mick and Melissa McAllister, which are great friends of mine, and I'm talking to some other top coaches. After looking at their businesses, I feel like I have totally failed in so many aspects of my business right now. And I'm at a complete overhaul of what I'm doing. But here's the thing. I'm not the type of person that is going to sit there and let this get to me, right? I failed. Okay, fine. It's a part of the process. I understand that. Too many of you guys and too many people that you know, coaches, customers, as soon as you hit a roadblock, as soon as you hit a failure, what happens? You pull right back into this comfort zone, and you just start, you start sulking, and you get all depressed and all sad, and you pull away from the business. You know what? You just got to understand that this is a part of the process. Obstacles and failure, this is going to happen to you. And once you can realize that and accept it, then things will start to move forward for you again. So my process, and I want you guys to use the same process, when I fail as a Beachbody coach, when I fail in anything in life, I take a second. You know what? No, I take probably a day, and I analyze the reasons why I failed at this certain thing. And it's a day if it's a major failure because it takes that long to think about it. Or if it's something that's small, I'll take 20 minutes to think about it. But I take a second and I analyze why I failed, and I write it down. But instead of stopping there, the next step is to make adjustments. So once I understand what I'm doing wrong, what changes can I make so that I don't make that mistake again? Every time I do this process, every time that I fail, I do this process. So to you, failure is a bad thing. To me, failure is an incredible thing because that forces me to make changes and adjust my business so that I can continue moving forward every single day. I have some huge goals this year, guys. I mean, massive goals. And trust me when I say I will fail so many freaking times for the next year or two. But every single time I will adjust and I will figure it out. You have to take the same approach. And the last one I want to talk about is stay consistent. It's so easy, and trust me, I understand this, and Barbie understands this, and everybody that is successful in this business understands this. It's so easy to lose motivation, and it's so easy to pull back. You have to force yourself to stay consistent every single day. because this is not a temporary thing. This takes time. Just like I told you in the very beginning, a successful business usually takes 5 years to turn any profits. This is the same thing with our business. You have to give it time. You have to stay consistent. You have to work your ass off. You have to learn how to adjust when you fail. And you have to learn how to push outside your comfort zone every single day. And if you can do these things and you can stay consistent with it, then your life will literally change before your eyes. And this whole diamond thing, you guys think that earning an extra $500 is great. Yeah, wait till that happens where you earn an extra $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000. Because it can happen if you do these things that I'm telling you. So that's it, guys. I mean, that's really all I wanted to talk about today. Barbie, do you want me to open it up for a Q&A for a little bit, or did you have anything to add?
The thing, I loved everything that you said. The thing that I remember was, in addition, when you were on public assistance, like I remember being in California, walking down the street, and you were telling me that you were struggling, but that you were hustling. And on top of that, you were, I don't know if you mentioned it or I missed it, but you were also working with your dad. So in addition to like busting your ass with your Beachbody business, trying to make that happen, working as a financial advisor, and on top of that, you were like lifting garbage with your dad. So, I mean, you had 3 jobs, a baby that I think was just born,
Yep.
you know, like talk about obstacles. And I swear I never, ever, ever, ever heard an excuse. Like you just get shit done. And that's just what it takes, you guys. I mean, it's just what it takes. Everything that Josh said is like, is so on the money. I mean, yeah, let's open it up. I mean, I think the biggest thing that you said for me, and what I'm seeing with my coaches or just coaches, I've been a coach 9.5 years, is that they have success and then either they think that they can relax or there's a bump in the road, like somebody dies or somebody gets sick, like serious stuff, you know? It's not like bullshit stuff. It's like serious stuff. And then they just like fall apart. And then I look back in the 9.5 years and I've been thinking lately, like, where did everybody go? You know, or they're just like has-beens. So just like Josh said, don't commit to be here 2 months from now. Be here freaking 2 years from now. Be here 5 years from now. So anyway, if you guys have questions for Josh, unmute yourselves because this man is seriously one of the most hardworking. No one knows his work ethic except my husband. But I don't know anyone other than Josh that has that kind of, and my husband, that has that kind of work ethic. And I'm not flattering him. I've always said that about Josh, and that's what I love about him. So if you have questions for him about his failures, about what keeps him going, about whatever, ask him because we still have a little bit of time.
Yep. Anything you want. Ask away. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy and don't lose this opportunity because a lot of you guys, I know that you'll probably message Josh, I wanted to ask you, and Josh is not going to answer your message because he's busy, you know? So if you have a question now is the time to ask it.
Hey, Josh, I have a question. This is Venus in Atlanta.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Hey, so what was that thing that you thought in your mind was real stupid, but you did it anyway, and then you saw results from that? What was that thing? Because I'm struggling with something right now. I think it's the thing, but I feel like it's a contradiction to me. Like it feels like it's not natural for my spirit.
That I thought was stupid?
Yeah. You know, like somebody told you to try something and you thought, no, that's not going to work.
Oh, God, there's so many. You know, it's really hard just to pinpoint one because
I can tell you one. I remember when Josh thought that Facebook was so stupid. He was so mad that Beachbody had gotten rid of the message boards, and he was like, "Fuck this, Barbie! I'm not gonna do Facebook." Yeah. You remember that, Josh?
I do remember that. Yeah.
So the thing with Josh is that he's really stubborn.
I'm better. I'm better now.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, you are. And he refused for a while. And I remember freaking out over stuff like, oh no, Josh is not going to be on Facebook. And I'm like, Josh, you have to trust it, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say that's one of the things. And, you know, like you're smart enough, you have business sense. And then, you know, you try this stupid thing called Facebook because back then it was MySpace. That was the cool thing. And look, we've built our business, half of it on Facebook. Okay, I'm going to be quiet.
So Venus, let me ask you, what is the stupid thing you're talking about?
For me, the stupid thing is Snapchat. I think that that's so dumb and immature. It's just my personal opinion.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, as a grown up, like I feel like, you know, like my 16-year-old nieces and great nieces and stuff are on there. So I'm like, what in the world? Like, what would an adult my age be doing on a place like that? And how would they find me there?
Well, so there's a few things that go along with this. Okay. So one, Snapchat is growing. All right. We know that just from the numbers that they're posting.
Right.
But the bad part about it is that the majority of people using this are young people. All right. So these are people between the ages of like 12 and 20 years old.
Right.
And it slowly decreases the more that you go up in age. And then you get around, 30 years old. I'm 32. Well, I'm turning 32 on Saturday. You know, it's not many people use it at all. And right. And if you even go more than that, like around my parents' age, they're like, what is Snapchat? Okay.
Right.
But here's the thing. I see a huge potential for this. And it's a really, really interesting time for Snapchat because, obviously they just went public. And there's a huge opportunity. There really is for growth within older generations. Right now they haven't exploited that, but I think that once they get the right people up there, management and everything, they're going to figure out how to tweak it a little bit. So I don't think that abandoning Snapchat is the right move. I really don't. I think that, I think you should stay around with it and stay consistent. I'm not saying that you have to post every freaking minute. And trust me, guys, I know because I know people who are literally Snapchatting their entire life. And it just annoys the hell out of me. And to be honest with you, it just takes the eye off the ball. I think that possibly it could turn into a way for us to build our business. I don't think it's to that point yet, but I think it might, and I think it will. So that's a really, really hard thing. Like I said, do I think you should give it up? No, I don't. But do you have to focus all your time? No, absolutely not. I think that there's way, way better, different ways. I mean, Facebook ads is a hell of a lot better than freaking Snapchat. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And happy birthday.
Thank you. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
I'll go. I don't know who that was. I'm sorry. But this is Michelle from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. What's up?
Michelle, what's up?
How's it going? I'm in your Team Next Level group, so I'm one of your people. I just wanted to ask you, I think what everyone seems to be asking all the time is what are the steps I need to do and how do you do this? How do you do that? Like they want the specific details of what you do, but would you say it's more just getting up and doing something and less of spending all this time trying to find out like the small little things that everyone does every day? Like, does that make sense to you? Because I think
it does. Stop worrying about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you got to, because, you just focus on your business and find out what's going to be most effective for you. And you focus the majority of your time on those things. Okay. No, that's not saying that you shouldn't listen to me or Barbie. So many people who have been around in the business a long time, you can try things out. But here's something that I've come to understand is that just because something works for me or Barbie doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So you have to test it out. And if it works, great. You apply it to your business on a daily basis. If it doesn't, throw it out and do something else. All right. So is that more what you were looking for?
Yeah, just looking for, because I think sometimes with these calls, we tend to I'll play catch in a minute, baby. We look for, I'm just wondering if, I like the way these calls are set up because it seems like it's more of like a way to get you to find your own way and less of me taking notes down, writing out like, how do you run your challenge groups and how do you message people, but just like a way to bring you back to the, because I'm trying to bring this to my coaches as well, right? Because that's how I'm gonna.
Well, so here's the thing. I actually think that some of the calls will be geared around that, and that's totally okay. Mm-hmm. But there's two parts of your business. One, there's the nitty gritty, detailed stuff like that. Two, there's a mindset thing, and that's what I addressed today. And honestly, I think that the mindset is the absolute key to success, because I think if you have the proper mindset, everything else will follow. You know what I mean? But if you know everything, and I'm not going to cuss because I see a little kid right there.
Oh, thank you.
But if you know everything, like all the nitty gritty stuff, but you don't have the right mindset, you're never, ever going to succeed. So they go hand in hand. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that, and this is that's an important lesson for you and your team as well, that a lot of your time you're going to have to spend on creating the proper mindset. And then once you create that proper mindset, then one, people will actually start figuring things out on their own, but two, they'll actually listen to your advice and the things that you give them. And I think this is something where a lot of coaches, they severely lack, is they go right into the nitty gritty of the business and they neglect the proper mindset. Because let's just face it, I said the stats in the beginning, 99% of people are going to fail. They're going to be average. You want to be that 1%er, right? So 99% of people that you sign up are going to come into this business thinking that it's just some, normal average thing. No, it's not. It's hard. You have to teach them the business mindset. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, that's something that I think that a lot of people sort of neglect when they.
You know what can I add to that? I can't tell you how many times. Josh is such a rebel, by the way. He's like, I'm not fucking doing that, Barbie, with a training, right? And I see that with Amy Silverman. I see that with Rosa. So with the top coaches, with the most successful coaches, they are innovative. They pave their own way. So there's two, it's kind of like what Josh said. On the one hand, you're right. I didn't have to handhold Josh. He's always been an innovator, right? But I think that in order to be successful, you do have to sort of listen to the people that have come before you. There are some things that you should be doing. Like you should be making several contacts a day, inviting people every day, following up. Like there's some things that there's no way around it. But then when it comes to innovating and doing your own thing, that's necessary if you want to be truly successful. And then I've tried this so many times. Like I remember getting my hands on like this very, very top coach's training, but it wasn't my training. And so because it wasn't my training, I wasn't successful at it because I didn't own it. So I can take Josh's training that he's spent 3 years doing, and I could try to apply it, but because it wasn't mine and it's not my baby, I'm not going to be as awesome at it. And I think that's where innovation comes in. When you own it, when you're like, man, I love this thing, people, and I just got goosebumps, like people are going to follow your passion. They're going to do things because you're passionate about it. So if you're just copying and pasting something that somebody else has done, chances are they're not going to be as successful. Would you agree, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, you're right. There's basic things that we can all do that we all have to do. I mean, it's funny because I mentioned that this business is hard. Absolutely. But there's just basic things that you do that is going to move your business forward, right? So, for example, when you look at the trainings and stuff, yes, there's been, and just like Barbie, I've tried many, many different trainings. I've tweaked my training so many times because I've seen other people do it and have success with it. But something that I've found to be super important that I neglected is branding and understanding who you're attracting to your business. Because, for example, let's say that I take a bombshell training and I try to apply it to my team of men. Like, it's just not going to work.
Dude, that's the one I was talking about. I got my hands on Lindsay's training, and I just didn't want to mention any names. And I was like, okay, this is not working for me. It was the same exact training.
Well, it's because her market, like she attracts
a different market.
And it's not you, and it's not me, and it's not the people that I bring onto my team. So if I try to adopt something that isn't for me or my market, then there's no duplication that's going to happen. So, and honestly, you have to give them credit where credit is due, because they understand that. They didn't adopt somebody else's training. They created their own that was very specific. And because of that, they all attract the same type of people, and they duplicate just extremely well. So really that's what it all comes down to.
Hey, Josh, I've got a question, and it's Michelle from Oceanside, California, and it actually has to do with just that, branding. Do you have any advice for us? That today is our lesson for today is all about branding ourselves and running that through our support group, and it would be nice to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah. So it's actually really funny that you bring that up, because I going back to 3-4 years ago, I thought I had a good understanding of branding, and then the last year, I've realized that I was just stupid when it came to that. I had no knowledge whatsoever. And the past 4 months, I have been absolutely mastering my branding, and I'm not going to lie, I've done a great job doing it. And anybody who follows me can understand that and sees that. So, here's the thing, and I don't know what the training is, Barbie. I'm just kind of getting into this a little bit, but to me, you have to know exactly who you are. All right. And I'm talking down to the very, very, very specific details on who you are as an individual, because who you are is who you want to attract as a coach and who you want to attract as a customer. And why am I saying that? And I love to use Lindsay and the Bombshells, and I love to use Amy Silverman, and I love to use me as an example all the time, because if you look at Amy, she is just a fireball, right? I mean, we all know that. She's a fireball, and she's uber successful as a coach. But if you look at her team, it's a carbon copy of her. Same personality, same age range, everything. And the same with Lindsay. It's a carbon copy of her. Same with me. It's a carbon copy of me. And I'm talking about my own PS coaches, right? So you have to understand who you are and understand your market if you ever want to have any true success as a coach. Because too many people, they're just all about recruiting and talking to everybody that they can possibly think about to talk to. And I can't tell you how more wrong of an approach that is. You have to be so specific, and everything that you do on social media, every color that you post on your banner, every background images that you use, it has to specifically appeal to those people who you're targeting, those people who are just like you. So everything that I've done is with a purpose. It's with strategy, especially over the last year. I just created a show called the Just Man Up Show. All right? Women are not going to watch this show. Well, ironically, a lot of women do watch this show because they find it interesting. But it's not geared to them. And a lot of guys, a lot of fathers, a lot of husbands between the ages of 25 and 40 who love sports, who are former athletes, who have beards, who are grungy, who have a driven personality, who just don't give a shit what people think about them, are watching my show. And it's so funny because I purposely created it this way to attract people like me. And it's happening. So I'm getting a lot of followers, and I'm getting a lot of people to reach out to me who are just like me. Same thing with my brand. And I'm writing a book, by the way. And Barbie, I don't know if you knew this. I'm writing a book, and I actually am going to get it published because it's freaking incredible. It's called Just Man Up. So it goes right along with my show, and it's aimed towards men. I created a specific brand around that. I've just rebranded my team Next Level, to be more towards me in my specific market on purpose. I had to go this direction. But everything that I've done is on purpose, because ultimately, what leads to success? Like true success as a Beachbody coach. It's your ability to bring on people who are like you and create a system, just exactly what you've done, and duplicated that system. But the problem is that you see people who they're coaches, and they start out, and like for me, for example, and they sign up someone who's an 80-year-old woman when they're a 31-year-old male. And the problem is that you have this system and you have this way of building that's been successful. And this 81-year-old woman comes in who's complete opposite of you and tries to plug into the training that you've created. And she's like, what the hell is this? It doesn't work. There's a reason why we always go after the same people like us, because we understand that in order for duplication to occur, we have to attract people who are like us. That's why Amy's been successful. That's why Barbie's been successful. That's why I've been successful. And Lindsay and Melissa McAllister. Like, I can go on and on of all these top coaches. I mean, you know it. You see it. You just go and look at any top coach and you look at their coaches and it's a carbon copy of who they are. Does that make sense?
You know, Josh, can you hear me? Because I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't believe, you know, if I have a weakness, I think that my weakness is that I haven't branded myself, and that's something that after 9.5 years, I'm getting started with now, because I feel like if I had done a better job branding, I would have attracted more people that are more like no excuses, no bullshit, straight shooter, real talk, not into superficial stuff, you know. And so I don't believe that I've done a good job with branding. And I think that 9.5 years in, that the branding work begins now. But this is part of my success, is that I'm always learning and growing. And I realized, just like you did, you said, I think you've always done a great job with branding, because I remember going to an event in 2010 and you guys were all at a bar, you were all smoking cigars, and they all looked like older versions of Josh. That was the most hilarious thing. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And they were all like men's men, you know? So you were branding back then. That was 7 years ago. I don't believe I've done a good job with that, but I do believe that it's never too late to start. And so I'm starting now. So that's the key to success too, is the ability to recognize what your weaknesses are and see, okay, what do I need to do to grow? So I have,
Barbie, and you're right. I mean, you know, I thought I was good at branding, but honestly, I just don't think I was. I wasn't doing enough. You know, and now I'm understanding it. I have a good guy, by the way, who creates incredible logos that I found on Upwork.com. If you want his information, I can send it to you.
Yeah, because I'm not really too happy with mine. But yeah, for sure, because I'm still trying to I know who I am. I just don't know how to put it in a way that is attracting the people that I am, you know? So, but anyway, I'm a work in progress, you guys, just like everybody else. I have not gotten it all figured out, and I'm still very successful. All right, let's wrap it up. Maybe just one more question.
Say hi.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Hi. Can you wave?
Hi.
This is my little man. This is Brody. Yeah.
Brody.
Say hi. Say
Hey,
hi.
Brody.
Hi, buddy.
He's so freaking cute. Oh my gosh. Finally, you had a son.
Yeah.
It was time for a little boy. He's so adorable. Oh my God.
I'll go, Mama. All right. Love you. All right. So yeah, one more question.
One more question, and it's time to go work out.
Question.
Yep.
I think it's not too hard of a question. But first of all, I just want to say, Barbie, I think you do a great job of branding yourself. I'm so super attracted to your brand.
Who's talking?
Erin.
Erin who?
Erin's.
Hold on, I can't see you. That's why. Okay. Thank you.
You do a great job of branding. I'm so attracted to your brand. I think that being a professional woman is a super good brand to have.
Good. I didn't know I was that. Okay.
But sorry. But I just wanted to ask, like, Josh, if he thought, like, do you think there's any one specific market that's harder than another market? Like, maybe I'm just overthinking it a little bit. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't think one's harder than the other. It's just understanding how to appeal to your market. That's what it all comes down to, you know. And I know where you're going with this, and I'm going to caution you because that is an excuse.
Okay.
I mean, and it's easy to fall into that excuse trap of, well, it's harder to reach out to people who are, you know, more like me than it is for you. And I hear that bullshit all the time, and that's exactly what it is, an excuse. It's just like my dad. Like, it's the same thing with him. He could easily say, well, it's so much easier for you as a 30-year-old male to reach out to your market than it is for me as a 55-year-old man. But my dad doesn't say that shit. I mean, he's just, you know what I mean? He owns up to it. He understands the potential for it. It's just understanding how to appeal to those people and figuring it out. That's what it comes down to.
I mean, I guess there's like some, because I feel like there's some markets that have like more strongholds in their head and like more like garbage that they're carrying around with them.
I mean, then you figure out how to get through to them. I mean, that's just how it is.
You know, Erin, if what you're talking about is like alcohol and drugs, is that what you're talking about?
No, not really, but kind of like
Okay.
just
So-
people, because that's things that people use to cover up the problem, like the things that the baggage that they're hanging on to.
Right. So Amy Silverman is a perfect example. You know, she talks about going to AA, and that's her way of giving back. And she talks about her past with alcohol and drugs, you know. So I am totally with Josh that that's just an excuse, you know. Like every market has its set of struggles and shit and baggage. So, you know, it's just your decision. How long do you want to hold on to that, you know? So.
Yep.
Josh, I love this call. You're amazing. I miss connecting with you, and I miss doing our calls. Remember we used to do like the Josh and Barbie show and all this crazy stuff, you know?
I remember.
We did it all. It was so much fun, man.
It was
Hey,
fun.
Barbie, can I jump in really fast? I promise I'll be quick.
Yes.
It's Moira Casaba. So you guys, I'm going to be on this call, leading this call in a few weeks. This is like such a full circle moment because I was in your shoes 18 months ago. Like, I'll tell you my whole story later, but I had my pinky toe in the water. I was so skeptical. I wasn't going to do this. I randomly got on some team call on a Thursday night, and Josh was the guest speaker. And it was that call, and it was that night. And I remember, it was July 6th, 2015. Like, it was the day everything changed for me. Like, everything. And I know, like, I can see people on this call because I'm so guilty of this still. Like, you're on one of these calls and you're texting people and you're, responding to things and you're like halfway listening. I know for me that night, like, his story, it was God intended. Like, it captured me. And I called my coach that night at 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, that's it. I'm in. Like, I'm all in. I'm going to run. I'm going to do every freaking thing I can to, like, be successful. And, like, it was like a light switch was flipped instantaneously in that hour. And you guys just had that opportunity. Like, so let this be the call that changes it all. Like, right now I'm sitting here 18 months later, 9-star, hopefully, going
in a year, dude, in a year.
It's crazy. Like, it's crazy what's possible. And I echo, and that's the thing. Like, I could just sit here and be like, yes, 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 yes to everything he said, because that night 18 months ago, he spoke my language. Like, he spoke my language with the heart, but also the hustle. And I wanted that. And he was my people, and I was like, I want to be part of this. And, like, the coolest thing is, a week ago, Barbie put me on this thread. I'm like, did you just put me on a thread with Josh Spencer?
Yeah, she's dying.
He's the guy.
That's hilarious. Well, no, you rock. And it's so cool because I remember you reaching out to me and just telling me that. And honestly, that's what it comes down to. That's why I do what I do. That's why I volunteer to be on these calls. Because, let's just face it, most people are not going to get it. They're not going to get it. But there might be that one person to where I connect with, and they take it and they run with it.
Yep.
You are one of the rare ones, man. It is so cool to watch you. I'm like, I saw you post. You're like 9-star. I'm like, holy shit, man. She's fucking crushing it right now.
In a year.
To know that I've had just a little bit of an impact on that is the coolest thing ever, man. And Barbie knows this, and I know this. It doesn't matter how much money you make, and trust me, we've made a lot of money. That is what it's all about. Because if you know that something that you've said can change someone's life in any way, that is where the true satisfaction comes from, And now here you are, 9-star, now it's time for you to pay it forward and do the same with your team or anybody else's team. That's why when people ask me to be on their calls, I don't turn them down, because I know that something I might say, regardless if they're on my team or not, might impact them in some positive way. And that is what fuels me to keep doing what I do every single day as a Beachbody coach. So you rock, girl. I mean, you're crushing it. You're crushing it.
Moira is making so I'm a 7-figure earner. Moira is, I don't know if you knew this, Moira, but I found out through errands that you're making in your first year as a coach 3 times as much as I was making in my first year.
God.
So if you, did you know that? So if
No, I didn't. But like, here's the coolest thing about this business. You know, like I have really high expectations and my bar and my goals are super high. But I just heard Josh say on this call, like, I wanted to be a 7-figure earner. And I'm like, oh shit, I got to raise that bar. Yeah, that's what I want. Like, my bar just like totally went higher today, you know?
Yeah, why not? Like, why not?
You guys, I want to share my goal. I know we're already getting past.
Okay, we got to go. But yeah, do it.
I want to, and this is huge, all right? I want to be a multiple 7-figure earner a year by next year. So I'll be well above the $2 million mark by next year.
I'll be with you.
I know you will. I know, but that's where I'm going to be, and I'm super excited about it. So anyway.
Okay, I'll make that. I'm not there yet, but I will be there. I'll be there. That's my goal too. I have it on my vision board for next year, so it's on.
Awesome.
It's on, Josh.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys. Hey,
see you guys. I hope you found it helpful. Bye, guys.
Recording, right? You got to stop record. Bye, everyone. Let's kick ass.